I declare the meeting open at 8:30.
Almighty God, we acknowledge that we have a responsibility to look after your creation, especially this region we call Barcaldine Regional Council. We are also conscious that our decisions are going to affect deeply the lives, land and property of the people we have come here to serve. Remind us to exercise respect for each of our fellow councillors, staff and for the people of our region. Help us in this meeting to act wisely, justly and intelligently in our deliberations. Thank you, Lord, for the privilege of both leading and serving, and assist us to do these well. Amen.
Councillors, I have some condolences. The late Darryl Rogers, formerly of Alpha, resident of Alpha. The late Grace Pollard Humphreys, formerly of Dotswood at Muttaburra. The late Marion Jakes, resident of Alpha. The late Malcolm Dyer, resident of Alpha. And the late Beryl Honora Dixon, resident of Aramac. Councillors, aware of any other bereavements in the last month? Officers?
Mr Mayor, Ellen Wood, Alpha.
Thank you. If you could please mark a moment's silence. Thank you, Council. Just people who are new to the room, or residents or former residents of the council area, we acknowledge them at the commencement of every meeting and acknowledge them and pay our respects via a moment of silence. So if you are aware of any unfortunate loss of life, please just make sure that we know that ahead of time and we'll make the appropriate acknowledgements. Also now my honour to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon not only which we meet, but our entire Barcaldine Regional Council area and their elders past, present and emerging. Okay, now councillors, I'm aware that this is going to take a bit of a learning curve, so I'll give you the latitude to go every which way here as we declare our MPIs and COIs. I'll start at one end of the table. I'll start with Councillor Rogers and work down, and then if anyone thinks of anything after, we can come back. And bear in mind, if at any point during the meeting you realise that there is another item that you may not have initially disclosed, or you become aware of a reason for an MPI or a COI, you ask for a halt to the meeting, and we'll discuss that. You can declare it, and then we'll take the appropriate action. Even if we're in mid-sentence or mid-presentation, councillors, please just ask us to stop, rather so that we know why it is that you might be rushing for the exits. Councillor Rogers, any MPIs or COIs?
Mr Mayor, I've got a MPI in Goal 2 and Goal 3 in the Works program. They've got mention of the sculpture trail.
Councillor Rogers, that's item 3.5.1, goals 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Whichever one of you is keeping a record, let me know when you're up to, so I can move on forward. Councillor Allen.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I've got an MPI in goal 3 of the 3.3.3, the 2020 project progress report, goal 3. because of my employer, Michael Horman Transport. And the same applies for 3.5.1, Chief Engineer's Works Report Period for March 2020 in goal 3, 4 and 5
Goals 3, 4 and 5.
through my employer, Michael Horman Transport.
Thank you.
That's it at this stage.
Councillor Hanson.
Not that I'm aware of this stage, Mr Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councillor Bliss.
Not that I'm aware of it, mate.
Thank you. Councillor Peters.
Mr Mayor, I have a MPI for 3.2.14 in regards to possible racing here on the 16th. I could possibly have a horse race there, but I've passed all of these on to Hayley in writing. I have a MPI in 3.5.1 under goal 5. And it could be a potential supplier there, which I've given to Hayley. And the other one was the 3.8.3, the Barcaldine racetrack with the training entrances. I'll clear an MPI there and totally agree with
Councillor Peters. Councillor Clark.
So now I have an MPI in 3.9.1, which is the independent investigation report. I'll do the
Councillor. Okay. Declarations of councillors' personal gifts and benefits. This is if you've been fortunate enough to receive a gift, the value of $500 or cumulatively for the value of $500 over a 12-month period. It's your opportunity to disclose it. There are none. We will move on to the confirmation of the minutes for the general meeting 18th March 2020. I'm aware of some amendments that may be required to those minutes. Councillor Gray and Councillor Dillon in those minutes declared a COI in on items relating to the Wild Dog Management Advisory Committee report, which was then dealt with appropriately as a COI, but they are titled as MPIs in the minutes. Sorry, no, that's only been brought to our attention this morning. So the ratification of those minutes will need to include those amendments. Other than that, I'm not aware of any need for alterations. Can I have somebody move that the minutes of the general meeting 18 March 2020 be received? Councillor Peebles, seconded Councillor Plum. Councillors, are you happy to take those amendments as read at face value, or would you like to read a copy, have a copy of the minutes come on screen?
Okay.
I have somebody move that they be confirmed. Plum. Somebody move that they be confirmed. Move Plum, seconded Peebles. All those in favour? Carried. 7-0. And I have somebody move that we receive the minutes of the post-election meeting held 20 April 2020. Councillor Rogers, seconded Councillor Peebles. Councillors, any alterations or amendments? No, somebody move that they be received. Confirmed. Councillor Plum. Seconder. Rogers. All those in favour? 7-0, carried. The special meeting, which is the meeting we had immediately after the post-election meeting on 20 April, can I have somebody move that those minutes be received, please? Gleeson. Plum. Alterations, councillors? There being none, can I have somebody move that they be confirmed, please? Hanson. Councillor Hanson, Councillor Peebles, seconded the motion. All in favour? Carried. 7-0. That normally takes 30 seconds, and it took about 3 minutes today, so hopefully we only have one more minute than normal. Petitions. Councillors aware, do councillors have any petitions to present on behalf of the community? Being none, I move to item 3.1, information report. To keep you up to speed with meetings I may be having, in case I miss something in updates to councillors, you can ask a question about it. There is I omitted to include, because I submitted the report prior to the meeting that I had with Professor Garno, Steve Marifotti from Sundrop Farms and Morgan Donald around economic aid, a particular economic development. Other than that, can I have somebody move, please, that they receive my report? Thank you, Councillor Plum. Second, Councillor Gleeson. Questions?
Mr. Mayor, can I just say that this is a new item in this agenda and I think it's great.
It was recommended to me. I can't take any credit for it. I did it. I actually wrote it, but it's not my idea. So no, happy to expand upon any topics that are there, but if I can keep you up to date, and if there's been a lot on in a particular week, I'll circulate an update in between meetings as well. Any questions? There being none, can I have somebody move that we receive the CEO's report, item 3.2.1? Peoples, second up. Stephen, have you got anything you'd like to lead off with?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just mainly to flag that our focus over the last month has certainly been COVID related. We've in the last couple of weeks tried to get back to business as usual as much as we possibly can. Our leadership team, we've obviously had a number of priority projects which include onboarding of the new council, the budget, this year's project update. There's been a whole range of things that we've been trying to work on in conjunction with dealing with the arrangements to do with COVID. So it's been an incredibly challenging and busy time. And yeah, I just reassure council that I think, we said from the start that our motto was that we wanted to stay ahead of the game. With COVID, council made very good early decisions which we were able to implement, and I honestly believe we've led the way of the rapid councils in how we've handled the COVID environment and what we've been able to do. And even now, you'll see there's a report today foreshadowing our thinking around how we go back into a staged opening of our facilities if and when we're able to do that. So, so it's probably been one of our most challenging months for the last month, just with so much unknown, the delayed election result. But I'm comfortable that we're in a reasonable position.
If I could just add briefly to that, my positive sentiments around Stephen and all of the staff and senior staff. There was a terrific degree of uncertainty around the period around the election, and at all stages they worked feverishly to keep everybody up to date with what was happening to the degree that they could. And it was frustrating for them more so probably than a lot of others, the period of time around office declarations and so forth. So thank you, Stephen, for keeping us generally, but me specifically, as informed as you could about council activities. Questions, councillors, on the report? There being none, I have a procedural motion, please, to suspend our standing orders and to receive the confidential report that is listed in your agenda as item 3.9.1. Councillor Eagle, second Councillor Rogers. Those in favour? Carried 7-0. Councillor Plum, can I ask you to reply, please? This is a confidential report we were given access to yesterday, councillors. This morning tea today. I saw yesterday about missing morning tea, so she won't miss it today.
Does council can't come in?
No.
After the resolution.
Okay, councillors, the resolution there, if we could just insert the word landowners, after map.
Through you, Mr Mayor, is it landowners or complainant?
No, well, I'm suggesting we meet with landowners because not all of the landowners affected are complainants.
Yeah, no, that's what I just meant, yeah.
I think to limit it to complainants will then only make more work for us down the track. We may not need to meet with other landowners, but should the information we receive as further for these reports indicate we should, well then I think we can. I mean, we probably don't formally need this resolution to do it, but it will endorse our actions if we do. And subsequent to that, it places on record the initial steps that we're taking to address the report.
Through you, Mr Mayor, would we say affected landowners? Sorry, particular.
Let's say where, sorry?
Affected landowners?
Yeah.
Just to be particular.
You're being very particular, councillor. Does that mean that you're going to take ownership of the resolution? You will. Move to Councillor Arthur, seconded. Councillor Gleeson. Those in favour? Carried. That's twice I've missed you there, Councillor Hanson. I won't let it happen a third time. Carried 6-0. Meeting adjourned at 10:03. We move, 322. Right, somebody move that we return to those standing orders, please. Move to one, seconded. Councillor Arthurs, all in favour? Carried 7-0. Councillor Information Bulletin. Councillors who don't have access to the tin can may not have seen all of that information, or have they?
They've got the supporting one.
They have got it. Right, thank you. Can I have somebody move that we receive the report? Councillor Hanson, seconded by Councillor Gleeson. In favour? 7-0. Questions? Documents speak for themselves, don't they, Stephen? 3.2.3. Somebody move that we receive the Community Care Services report, please. Arthur, seconded Councillor Peoples. In favour? Carried 7-0. January 9.
Through you, Mr Mayor, just probably a couple of things just to note in the Community Care Services report. We have, the Deputy CEO and I have had a sit down with the Community Care Coordinator looking for other ways that we can access funding related to COVID. There's some small opportunities for us to get extra funding, so we're going to be working through that. And you would have seen in the finance section, it's noted that the NDIS division is certainly tracking extremely well at the moment. So, and we expect that growth to continue.
Thank you, Stephen. Any questions? If it comes to specific activities within that, councillor, so remind you yesterday I said we'll have a further onboarding session where we will brief you more fully on those specific programs and their ideals and aspirations and so forth. But any questions about the report, please feel free. There being none, 3.2.4, Economic Development Report. Will somebody move that we receive the report? Plum, Councillor Plum, seconded Councillor Arthur. Those in favour? Carried 7-0. Councillors, there will be a detailed briefing on this report as well to bring you up to speed with the projects that have commercial in confidence sections on Tuesday next week. In this report, you see background on Morgan's role with economic development, process by which we've undertaken some project assessments. Yeah, fire away with questions if there is any. There being none, item 3.2.5. Establishment of standing and advisory committees. The officer's report and recommendation is that we do not appoint standing and special committees. And in lieu of that, B in that resolution calls for the appointment of the following 4 committees. A RADF committee, Community Care Services Advisory Committee, the Barcaldine Regional Council Wild Dog and Pest Management Advisory Committee, and Harry Redford Cattle Drive Steering Committee. Council's discussion on this before we move to resolution. Questions? There being none, can I have somebody move that recommendation, please? Councillor Plum, seconded Councillor Gleeson. Those in favour? Carried, 7-0. We'll now move towards the sections of the agenda that appoint people to those. I believe I've spoken to most. I've got a draft here of this, but we can discuss individual appointments as individual agenda items. So 3.2.6. Barcaldine Regional Council Wild Dog and Pest Management Advisory Committee. Offline, I've had conversations with Councillors Hanson and Gleeson about being Council's delegation here. Does any other councillor wish to join them or object to either of those councillors being on those committees? That not being the case, can I have somebody move that resolution as presented? Moved Councillor Plum, seconded Councillor Peoples. Those in favour? Carried, 7-0. 3.2.7. Community Care Services Advisory Committee. I note within this resolution, Chair. Can I just ask for some advice on that? Chair. I thought that was chaired by staff previously. Is this a revised? No.
No, Mr Mayor, sorry, that's just been copied from one of the other resolutions.
That's okay. That's all right.
Brett or I would normally chair it.
Yes. Yeah. So as an advisory committee, I think we can delete that reference. There's a list of 4 councillors there. I'm not appearing there as mayor really. I'm just there because there's somebody from up my way would be beneficial to be on that. If another councillor expresses an interest in it, I'd be happy to let you take my place, but I'm happy to stay on that list. Objections? Someone move that resolution then, please. Or does anyone want to join it? No? Moved Councillor Gleeson, seconded Councillor Hanson. All those in favour? Carried, 7-0. RADF section 3.2.8. So this one we do have a chair, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. I have approached councillors. Sorry, councillor.
I just thought there was only one council representing community care service, that was 4.
4, that's right. Where am I? Sorry, RADF. I've approached councillors Rogers and Arthur. Are you both happy to? Yeah. Have one of you discussed being chair?
Through you, Mr Mayor, it would actually be really helpful if there was one more. That's if anyone was keen to put their hand up, like it would help. Because there's not a lot of committee members from the community, which means that the more that we're on there, it just makes it more impartial and like better, I think. But I mean, yeah.
Is anyone else?
It's
Not art related, it's finance related more so than art.
Yeah, it's just deciding like where the money from RADF goes. So you don't have to be an artist. You just have to look at the project in what merits it would have for the community and development in art. Like Gary Patines was on it for a lot of years, and he always, said he was.
Are you suggesting the former councillor Patines is not an artist or in any way artistic?
He was not artistic, so yeah, you don't have to have a real interest in arts per se to be on the committee. Just finance.
Can I get another councillor perhaps to help on that? Thank you, councillor Hanson. Do the three of you want to very quickly decide who's going to chair that? You can either of the other two now, where's councillor Hanson?
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'll pass Coles,
You're the deputy chair. Okay, so we'll appoint councillor Rogers as chair
Happy to do that.
and councillor Rogers and others. Can I have somebody move that resolution, please? Councillor Peebles, seconded councillor Gleeson. All in favour, carried 7-0. 3.2.9. The following representatives on the local committees. Councillor Peebles has informed me offline that you already serve on the Aramac Health Advisory Committee, is that correct?
I do, yeah.
If we could add councillor. Are you serving in that capacity as a councillor or as a member of the community?
I'm a member of the community and chair of that committee at the moment.
Would that only confuse
I
my
left it blank because I wasn't sure whether councillor Peebles was the council rep or a community rep.
I'm a community rep on that committee already as the chair.
So then to further that, should we perhaps appoint district manager as council's rep like we do in the other two areas, considering you're already there as a community rep?
Fine with that?
Can we amend that resolution to include district manager? Somebody move that resolution? Spelling mistake on Jenny's name. Moved councillor Rogers, seconded councillor Hanson. Those in favour, carried 7-0. Harry Redford Steering Cattle Guide Steering Committee. Councillor Peebles.
Mr. Mayor, presently I'm chair of the Harry Redford Cattle Drive Steering Committee, and happy to stay here.
Peebles it is, unless anybody else wants it. Do you want it or do you want to move it, councillor Plum? Thank you, councillor Plum. Seconded. Gleeson, councillor Gleeson. All in favour? Carried 7-0. Audit Committee. Council appoints councillor Plum and councillor Rogers as members of the Audit Committee. Chair.
Well, Becky was on the audit committee last year, so I defer to her. Do you want to be the chair, Becky, or?
Councillor Plum as the chair and councillor Rogers as a further member of that committee, and the DCEO Walsh continue as a member of the committee. A resolution to move that, please. Moved Peebles, seconded. Arthur got that one. All in favour? Carried 7-0. Right, well done, councillors. 3.2.12. Somebody moved that we received the report. Councillor Plum, seconded councillor Peebles. Carried. Letters on the back on page 18 in your agenda. If we that letter just for noting, councillors. I believe the resolution to arrive from that. Except that I welcome the continued ongoing community interest in council projects right across the region, and in particular this one. Well done to those business owners.
Just to note that they will be volunteering labour towards some of the construction work.
So, for example, councillors, the jetty, is it the jetty or boat, was it? Pontoon is being constructed by a group of business people and interested parties free of charge. So the labour free of charge, council are providing the materials, which was part of the scope of works, but the actual construction costs are being borne by the individuals. So we see that across the council area for established community organisations, and it's welcomed and a big part of our fabric, but it's as pleasing to see for a facility and it's an interest that's not yet operational, to see the excitement it's generating and the community support that's falling into line. Effectively, it's the same as a working bee, which we'd have at any other organisation's regular events, and they're already pulling this into place before operational. So good on. Workforce Management Plan 3.2.13. Can I have somebody please move that we received that report? Councillor Plum, Councillor Gleeson. In favour? Carried. Questions for Stephen? This is, you would have had reference to this in briefing sessions. It is in the 10. Maybe not.
So through your Mayor, so the workforce management plan was what we put in place at the outset of the COVID pandemic. We wanted to be very clear with our workforce as to how we would support them if we were unfortunately affected by one of our employees being struck down by COVID-19. The state government, through the local government minister, asked us to give 20 days special leave to all staff, which not all councils followed suit. For us, if we did that, that would be a cost of over $1 million to do that, and that's not a cost that we budgeted for. So what we did was the management team put together a workforce management plan that had clear provision for anyone who had COVID-19. We would give up to 10 days COVID-19 special leave. So we certainly support the workforce if they were to get COVID-19, but we didn't add an extra blanket special leave for all of our staff. And again, our thinking was it's a time when everyone's having things taken away. We can't be seen to be giving more to our staff. So this was sit in the middle ground. Now, why I wanted to come to council is because if we did have an outbreak and we had multiple people accessing this 10 days leave, it's effectively unbudgeted and it's outside my delegation. So just as a precaution to let council know what we've done, it's not an official policy either. If it's a policy, it has to go to the unions and we have to consult. So we left it as a protocol and a plan. So really it's just for your information of how we handle the situation. And I'm pleased to say no one at this stage has had to access any of the 10 days pandemic leave that we've established.
So Stephen,
It is.
It is.
so what you're saying there, it's if anyone did happen to get the virus, they are then entitled to the 10 days. Is it 14?
10 working.
10 working days is our leave, it's our extra leave that we would grant them. And then, of course, after that, they have access to normal sick leave. If they get to the point of needing annual leave, they can.
Councillors, just sorry, it is in the can, it's incorrectly labelled. The item that's in the can is 3.2.10 is actually 3.2.13. The CEO directive is the heading, but it does entail the workplace management plan.
And that's my fault.
I assumed it was Brett, which is why I drug it out in the open. If it was Haley's, I would have said nothing.
Was Brett admitted to today?
In 24 hours, there's something going to happen tonight.
Yes.
It's an operational directive, effectively, but Stephen's highlighted the main reason it's in your now. If there is a requirement for that, then there may need to be either ratification of the decision to pay or an emergency meeting to authorise whichever the CEO determines is necessary. I don't think there's need for resolution at this stage. Questions? There being none, item 3.2.14, Councillor Peoples, you declare a MPI. Councillors, there is significant supporting documentation being presented for this resolution. The brief history, it was shut originally because there was the protocols that were originally proposed for closed thoroughbred racing in this region would have entailed jockeys coming from east to west. or west to east, which did continue to happen. They did go from the west to the east. The jockeys could have been jockeys, and mainly jockeys from around Mackay and Rockhampton could have been in Barcaldine. The community expressed a degree of concern about that. Queensland Racing have since rezoned Queensland, which has moved the boundary of this, what they call now the Greater Western Zone, as you see on page 22, 22, has now excluded Emerald, which has put Emerald into that central region, Region 4, and that will mean that jockeys can't travel from Zone 4 to Zone 6. So they will only be jockeys from effectively the large dots on those maps: Mount Isa, Cloncurry, Longreach, Barcaldine, Charleville and Roma. So the chief item of concern that the community voiced has been addressed by Queensland Racing. I have met with delegates of the other concerns, so it wasn't only community concern, it was also a workforce issue for the club, and I have spoken with delegates of the club and they believe that to be resolved. Please take that at face value. It's just verbal advice. I'm repeating conversations that I had with their delegates last night. So the club initially didn't support racing, but they now, as a result of this revised plan, are fully on board. Are on board, I'll rephrase, are on board. Before we go to resolution, comments, discussion?
Can I just ask a question? Are there going to be enough jockeys in this area?
I asked the same question to Councillor Plum. Yes, because they won't be racing in those locations all at the same time. If you look at Barcaldine, there's not enough, but there's 5 or 6 jockeys based to the south and 5 or 6 to the north, and a couple in our immediate localities. I guess that's probably their issue anyway. If they can't get the jockeys, they can't run. But no, the advice from Queensland Racing and stakeholders are that there is clearly going to be enough jockeys to hold races. 1 per day in our zone, but the jockeys have cars will travel. And now, not from east to west only, in that greater Western Queensland area. The other thing about that is stewards from Queensland Racing aren't going to be travelling as proficiently. They were the other element. There was jockeys and stewards, and they were TAB meetings originally, so that meant there was Sky News, Sky Racing, videographers. For good or bad, these meetings are now proposed for Zone 6 not to be TAB, so the amount of personnel required and the travel that they require to undertake is substantially reduced.
So in saying that too, are the course, the starters and the course people, are they?
Well, that's what I met with the club last night to undertake, because last time the advice we received was that they were not. I asked those exact questions at the club last night, and I was given the indication that they believed everything was right. So I haven't personally met with the starters, staff, for multiple reasons, one of which that most of them are council employees, so it would be improper for me to do so. I'm just taking and representing to you the advice directly from the club. I'd imagine that once again becomes an issue for them to address if they. We can only improve the concept if they have no workers, they have no races. We're not even improving the concept really, we're only allowing. We are improving the concept by that resolution. They're effectively just saying you can have the track provided. You do everything you're supposed to under the COVID protocols developed by Queensland Racing. Councillor Gleeson.
Mayor, on Monday, the Local Disaster Management Group, we voted to remain on a lean forward status.
Yeah.
Is this contravene any of that?
No, in fact, they have that this plan has been expressly approved by the Chief Health Officer, which it was not previously. So the plan that was adopted, that was going to be undertaken initially, did not have CHO sign-off, whereas the CHO is comfortable that this fits within the health directives that the government has issued, which is a significant change and in where Queensland Racing have their approval process at compared to a month ago.
Personally, I find it very difficult to allow race meetings to go ahead when we can't go to the gym, we can't go and play football, we can't go and play tennis, the kids nearly can't go to school. I find it very difficult. That's just my point of view.
Further thoughts?
Mr. Mayor, I think the reason why how they justified, and I'm not saying I agree with it, is that it's regarded as work and not recreation. So they're saying it's work for the jockeys and horse trainers. That's their income rather than it's
That's correct.
recreation.
It says they say in the report that it generates $22 million in economic contribution and 2,700 participants in outback Queensland over a year. So yeah, so I think that's their stance, is that it's an industry, it's a business.
Councillor Arthur.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I thought I read somewhere about the relaxation of that, of the COVID stuff as allowing access to the gym.
So you're foreshadowing a later agenda item where we will delegate the authority to the CEO via the CAT team
That may
to relax access to them on the proviso that other levels of government do the same. So it's allowing us to be more flexible
yes, Mr. Mayor.
on that matter rather than having to wait for, because council resolve to close them, so only council can resolve to open them. And there's all sorts of foreshadowing happening that in the next month that could happen, and if we had to wait until our general meeting at the end of May or reconvene a meeting simply to open them, we could be behind the curve. Whereas if we delegate to Stephen and the CAT team, of which I sit on as well, the power to do that within restricted, and those they've been developed by the DMs, that could happen.
Yes.
But that is a later agenda item.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. No, that's through you, Mr. Mayor. It's
To address that point.
to some way allay some of
Councillor
the
Gleeson, yes. Councillor Hanson, any thoughts? Roger?
I'm just, as long as we're not contravening any health, orders or regulations, and like, before they weren't complying, they didn't have a COVID-19 biosecurity protocol in place. And like you said, jockeys were going east-west, so I am.
Yeah, I think they did have, they're telling us they had one before, but we don't, no, they didn't
Yeah, we
provide it
need
to
to
us.
see it, yeah.
But paragraph 5 on page 20, pretty clear there that the support and advice of Queensland's Chief Health Officer, Dr. Jeanette Young. So this is at her advice. She was not comfortable with the existing regions because of the exact reasons that people in the community want. Any further thought before we move to resolution? Do I have somebody prepared to move the resolution as presented in the agenda? Councillor Arthur moves that. On seconder. Councillor Rogers. I am aware of a mixture of opinions as a result of our discussion around this agenda item. Does somebody wish to speak against this resolution? As is your right.
I'm going to vote against.
You'll vote, you want to speak further against it, Councillor Gleeson? Okay. Proceed to the vote, please. Those in favour? Opposed? Carried 5-1. Councillor Gleeson, do you want your name recorded? Yes, one of them. Councillor Gleeson, you're not calling for division, you just want to be recorded. Can somebody please fetch councillor Peters? Sorry, I was that way with that. 3.2.15, Regional Arts Development Fund application. Recommendation. Can somebody move the recommendation or an alternative amendment?
Through you, Mr Mayor, can I move that or am I
Yes, you
out
can.
of it? I'll move.
Councillor Rogers, second. Councillor Plum. Does anyone wish to speak against the resolution? There being nobody, I'll put it to the vote. Those in favour? Carried 7-0. 3.3, Deputy CEO's report. Can I have somebody please move to receive the DCEO's report? Moved Plum, seconded Arthur. Those in favour? Carried 7-0. Brett, would you like to lead on anything here before I ask the questions?
The only, Mr Mayor, an update on the flood stations. They have been installed. We're extending the contract to put in radio links. Those flood stations. So they'll radio back through Blackhall. That's for the Star Downs and Drummond Slopes. Drummond Slopes and
There'll be no service in that area.
Upper, yeah. So they'll go back to Blackhall.
Any questions for the Deputy CEO on his report? There being none, move to item 3.3.2. Can I have somebody please move that we receive the planning and development report? Councillor Plum, second Councillor Hanson, in favour? Carried 7-0. Questions? Councillors, these reports are not decision reports, they're just provided to make you aware of planning and development applications. Some of these then require, depending on their status and assessment criteria. Right.
I have councillor Arthur listed as an MPI this time.
Councillor Arthur, you clear an MPI in 3.3.2.
No, I thought it was 3.3.3. Project progress.
All good? Thanks, Harley. These reports are just, sometimes some of the things that are in them require different levels of assessment and we may see further detail on it. Other times they go through as the terminology is just code accessible or not even requiring that. Is that correct, Brett? And they just proceed through via officers. Sometimes it's even just you pay a fee to do it. So it's an FYI report, item 3.3.3, which you do now have an FPI in Councillor Arthur.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. I did circulate to councillors this morning. There's a couple of questions about the Waratah coal application. So they're doing a social impact assessment. So at some stage we do have to talk about that, how we want that to proceed.
So that's not here if you're looking for it. It's not formally locked. It is locked. Isn't it? It's in lodged.
DA's been lodged, yes. These are only DAs that have been lodged in the last month.
Right.
So it was done previously to that. So they, one of their requirements is to do a social impact assessment, which we will be involved with.
So that document, they've asked some questions about how council would like to style it. They've engaged a company by the name of Square Head, which interesting choice of name for a consulting company. But if you could provide some feedback to officers about what style, I have already done so, and I'll accept that, or I'll recirculate that to councillors. I think there's a mixture of things that needs to be done. Their consultation does need to be relatively broad, but it can be of a different style of communication in areas, different areas. You know, Alpha and Jericho, I think they need to do extensive face-to-face consultation. But they also need to include Muttaburra, Aramac and Buckballin as well, because the impact of a development that significant will reach further than just the immediate locality. So if you could put some thought into the style of communication you think should be undertaken, consultation, which will include communication. And if you could, Stephen, who would you like to coordinate that feedback?
We can go back to Hayley.
If you could just respond to Hayley, she'll collate that. And you'll see more of that in due course. 3.3.3. 2020 project progress report. Councillor Arthur has left the room. Can I have somebody move that we receive the report? Councillor Plum, seconded Councillor Peebles. All in favour? Carried 6-0. So this is the first time you would have seen a report like this was at the council onboarding session. Details has been reordered by the appearance of it. All the completed projects are down the bottom.
Mr. Mayor, we've, so just to make it easier to review, any completed projects I've dropped to the bottom of the page so that we're really only updating one top, the current in progress projects. The report is essentially the same as what we reviewed last week.
Any questions, councillors? Being none, somebody brings Councillor Arthur to the room, item 3.3.4. Can I have somebody please move the workplace health and safety report be received? Councillor Rogers, thank you. Second, Councillor Plum. Those in favour? Carried. 7-0. Report will be in the can, 3.3.4.
Mr Mayor, shouldn't that be 6-0?
Where's
Oh,
that?
the deputy chief, sorry, workplace health and safety, sorry. I missed the bit that you were, workplace health and safety. I was on the slide.
All right, Councillor Arthur, I'll extend you that degree of latitude this once.
No.
I just assumed that you were in favour as you sat down, you didn't vote against. Questions on the workplace health and safety report? Brett, anything to note?
No, Mr. Mayor.
It's presented, thank you.
Duration of what was presented previous months.
3.3.5, variation of rates payment date. Council, I think the supporting information here, well, you're ratifying a decision that was made. The supporting information and the resolution speaks pretty clearly. Is there a discussion point? Questions? There being none, can I have somebody resolve? Councillor Plum? Councillor Hanson? All those in favour? Carried 7-0. 3.3.6, interest on overdue rates. Supporting information here shows and this has actually been amended in recent times or drawn to our attention, and we've amended our rate. I think as recently as the last budget actually, DCO, is that correct?
So, Mr. Mayor, the government changed the regulation. We used to charge 11% interest on overdue rates, which was the maximum allowable. Now it's 8% above the bond rate. So that will, for the upcoming financial year, that's dropped down to 8.5. But this is in relation to the COVID recovery and the main landholders that owe rates are our pubs. They're by far the biggest debtors. We have had a letter from the owner of the Yarramak Hotel about their rates. And he phoned me, and his main concern was the interest being charged. He knew he had the rates, but he said the interest that keeps building up just really makes it difficult. Also, the Alpha Caravan Park wrote in as well. So I'm just recommending that as part of our assistance to the economy, that we reconsider the amount of interest that we actually charge on our overdue rates. I did consider zero interest, but I thought that was going a step too far. We should charge something.
So are you foreshadowing by the budget implication that this will come at a cost of approximately 10,000 for the budget? Or is that just total interest?
That's the change in interest that we receive.
So we are in. Questions, councillors, thoughts, comments before we resolve?
Are the rates owing long term? Or are they relatively?
Be a mixture, wouldn't it? But
There's
Can I move a point of order, Mr. Mayor?
Point of order. Sorry.
Well, I want to discuss something.
Yes.
No, it's not a point of order, but can I go into closed session? I move to we go into closed session.
Move to Councillor Peters that we go into closed session. Second. Councillor Arthur, in favour? Gary? Falling back on now that I just laid the gauntlet down on the table like that. As we move back into open session, councillors, the resolution or the recommendation from the officers is that we reduce the interest on overdue rates to a charge of 5% per annum compounding daily on both overdue rates and charges, I should say. And that be backdated to take effect from the 1st of March. Can I just ask a technical question? Considering we already calculate this on a daily basis, will we be making this a difficult decision? Is this going to be a difficult thing to backdate, officers? Can we perhaps look at whether that may be more effective to take effect from a date to be set in the future?
Cheers, Mayor. From my point of view, because the rates notice have been issued, interest has actually been calculated up to the date of the due date of rates,
Which was?
26th of June. So that's winding back, you'd have to wind back 6 months worth of interest. So you'd have to credit every rate levy that has been charged. So it is a large job.
Outstanding. Only the ones that are outstanding.
Quite a few with interest charges. It'd be a large job.
If you do it from now, does it, you have to reverse?
You would have to reverse the interest that was charged on the current levy that has just issued. Because the calculation, because it caused confusion in the past, that you get a rates notice and says that if you pay by this date, this is what's due. But if you walk in to the office to pay that, it will accrue interest up to the date you make the payment, so the decision is made that all interest is calculated to the due date of the rates notice for any arrears that are on those levies as they're issued.
So effectively, Jenny, what you're saying is that they compound them daily in advance almost to give an indicative payout figure at a point in the future from the date of issue.
Correct.
I see this as a problem, somewhat.
So, Mr Mayor, if that's the case, then it'd have to be from the 26th of June or the 1st of July or whatever day.
So the next issuing of rates will calculate rates from what point in time?
Calculate interest
Well,
from the 20th, the last 3 days of June.
26th of June.
so the rateable period though, that the rates that have just been issued for,
Is the 30th of June, but the interest has only been calculated to the 26th of June.
okay. Sorry, forgive me, I'm not that quick. Councillors, do you see a substantial, it is a substantive change to the recommendation, but it hasn't been moved yet, so we're not amending it. It's not a formal amendment. In lieu of the officer's advice about the degree of difficulty and perhaps confusion that could be signified, and the net effect in real terms is going to be lesser. Do we, Shane? Or is that a misstatement, Brett? The net effect, if we change the date from the 1st of March to the 26th of June, we're only talking 3 months, 2 and a bit months. So the net effect on the person receiving this relief is probably not very high. It's minimal. Councillors, may I suggest that we resolve that the 1st of March be changed to the 26th of June? Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll do that and then we'll now go to resolution. Can I have somebody move that, please? Move to Councillor Plum. Oh, question, sorry.
In saying that we're going to take it from the 26th of June, can we also take the percentage back to 3%?
Okay, so a counter proposal to lower from 5 to 3.
Just to give them that little bit of, because it's come up to the 26th of June.
So you're
Brett,
thinking
is
of
that-
back claiming, okay, I
is that-
understand that.
Is that too far back?
That's Mr Mayor, that's totally up to council how generous they wish to be with the
We need these businesses to reopen.
What's the cause? The CEO's just said that there's a reason why the interest rate is substantially high, and that is as a deterrent against not paying your rates and saying it's only 3%, I'll wear the 3 or 1, whatever the percentage is. If it's that low, we may find. And we as a local government have a very low rate in arrears as a percentage of our total rates. Am I correct in that saying that, Brett? As a whole, I mean.
as a whole. Mr Mayor.
So it would be disappointing if that should rise on the basis that we became too generous. People that are not currently rates in arrears may look at that and think, well, that's cheaper than bank interest. You know what I mean? 3%, better than paying it off my overdraft. Councillor Hanson.
Mr Mayor, we're thinking of actually putting a cut-off date like June to December, just give them a 6-month period rather than there's this sort of no end date to that. discount on interest.
Question, we could change this by resolution at any
So I
time.
was going to say, Mr Mayor, if we're moving to the 26th of June as the date, well, the new budget starts on the 1st of July and this resolution will come up again at the budget for the 1st of July. So if that's the case, then I would recommend we just withdraw this and consider it as part of the budget to apply from the 1st of July. Because really it was only for the 4 months remaining of this year, the resolution applied to.
Thoughts, councillors? So effectively, you're only going to be giving 4 days of relief at this, and we'll have to move to a new arrangement. Anyway. Thoughts? Well, actually, our budget meeting is going to be before the 26th of June. Our budget meeting's on the slated is the 20th, 4th.
2024. Through you, Mr Mayor,
Yeah, all right.
with the calculations of the interest, that 4 days, in your system, you can just change it from whatever percentage.
For you, Mr Mayor, yeah, it's a matter of a constant.
So you can apply a set interest rate for the first 4 days and then the rest of it if we change.
The 4 days left, it's already been done up to the 26th, so if we changed it to 5% as the reports put up, you change it for going forward, that would be just those 4 days.
From the 26th again. And if we let it stand and had it back at the 1st of March and somebody came in, we would have to have issued them with a new rates notice with their new interest payable, because if they presented earlier than the 26th of June, the amount payable would be different to the amount that was on their rates notice. It would have been anyway, but it'll be different again because you'll have to recalculate with the amended rate, not the rate that was used at the point of doing up the rates issue.
Probably easier just to do a credit. So it mean if they pay what was on the rate notice, they'd have a credit, they'd on the rate card.
Everybody would just take their money and then they'd get a credit for paying early.
Councillors, the option from the Deputy CEO here is that we withdraw this resolution and use the budget process to review economic recovery strategies.
I'm fine with that, Mr Mayor. Well, the other thing we could do is just use that motion and say that we'll use that for the next financial year.
Which we can't. We have to do that again for next year's budget anyway. Right. We can do it now, but we've got to move it again in a month's, 2 months' time.
It's part of the budget, we'll.
We revisit the budget. Right.
I think, given that this was an agenda item, we shouldn't just withdraw it. We should withdraw by resolution to state what I just said, that the council, yes, you can let that, Harley, the council withdraws the resolution and we'll use the budget to outlay economic recovery strategies. Feedback to be provided to these people who've asked.
Yes.
We outline exactly that we'll be looking at this as part of our budget.
People have written in yes.
Councillors happy with that? If the people who got inquired about this say that yes, councillors have considered it actively, there are some issues, but we'll look at it as part of our budget. Happy with that? Can I somebody move that resolution, please? Councillor Plum, second, Councillor Hanson. In favour? Carried 7-0. 3.3.7, annual operational plan. Report. Required to look at this each quarter. That's an update on the, this document is your operational plan, councillors, and it's reviewed quarterly. Certain KPIs and different information are in there. It's under a new format this year. It may even change again, I'm not sure. Hearing nods, seeing nods. So, yeah, Any questions on any part of that?
This is the KPI project that Brett referred to, and QTC referred to. Just have better measurable KPIs. A lot of the things we have at the moment, while it's improved, it's very open for interpretation.
Just through you, Mr. Mayor, I just have a question about, it's more a formatting, I guess. Like, in the target, we have 100%, but then in progress, just for the first line item, we have monitoring compliance. We have a percentage figure in our target, but we have a narrative or wording in progress. Whereas others will have 100%, or they'll have a numerical figure and then a numerical progress.
And that's, Mr. Mayor, that's why QTC wants us to review the way we do this. Because sometimes we put a target, say 100%, but how do you measure it?
Yeah.
You can only measure it in words, not in, it's subjective, it's not something you can substantiate, so.
And Mr. Mayor, understanding that some of the line items are easy to say we will do one of these a month, we've done one a month, others are a little bit more complex and more subjective.
Councillor, some councils use this as a very, I think this is council, as a council law, it's a set of us. This is our chance to interface operations with our budget, and it's the document that guides your involvement and not allowed as per the Act to direct officers, but by adopting this document, you are effectively, because you look there at responsibilities and very clear signal intent from council as to what they want to see done and in some ways how they want it done and how they want it measured. So I would welcome, as we formulate the 2020 operation 2021 or whatever it is, 2021 annual operational plan, a high level of involvement with officers so that you can take ownership of the document. It has been, in not only our council's case, but other councils previously, just been used because it's a legislative requirement. There's a generic document done up every year. There's a generic report issued every quarter and no one looks at it. It really, really is something that you can use to measure outcomes and to guide our officers on the style and manner in which you wish council to operate over a 12-month period. Couldn't be named better, it's an operational plan. It with the budget are your two chief responsibilities. I mean, setting policies are important, but these two documents are what council use. Brett has one Bible, but really there's two.
The New Testament.
The New and the Old Testament, yeah, right. So, I mean, there's two documents that come everywhere with me. That's one. The other one is the budget. People ask you stuff, you can just rip open the budget and say, yep, there's money to be spent in it. Like a member of the public arts. And they're your two overarching guiding documents.
And through you, Mr. Mayor, again, simply a formatting thing, goal 3, on the printing, you can't see the fit, well, you can see 2 out of the, what is there, 7 figures there.
Which one?
The goal 3, quality infrastructure.
What can't you see, sorry?
Oh, well, in our printed version, it's hashed out. So I assume the cell is too small to physically see the.
Oh, sorry, the online version.
Yeah.
Wrong. Sorry, so we might just look at that.
I'd say it's just a printing machine, but.
Yeah, right. Did you print it from the can? Or did
No,
you-
it was provided.
Oh, it was.
By council.
Okay. Any questions like that, just refer straight to Harley. Sure. Okay, 3.3.8, approval of bitumen quote. Moved Plum, seconded Arthur. Council receives the annual operational plan. Carried. Carried 7-0. That glare off that new screen's hard to put up with, isn't it, councillor, please? The glare of that windscreen can get hard to put up with after a couple of years, I can tell you. You sit where I'd used it. Item 3.3.8.
It's right, I can hear you.
Jenny, it was a comment in jest, it's fine. He can move, he's not anywhere near as big as I was, and I used to find a way around it. Resolution speaks for itself, the background material, councillors. Is there a question before we move to resolution? There being none, Councillor Peebles has moved the resolution to endorse the decision, seconded Councillor Plum. Those in favour? Carried, 7 of you right. Councillors, we move to a suite of policies in items 3.3.9 through to 3.11. The officers of the Royal Correspondence from the Local Government Department, effectively they had asked that we review these policies as a early order of business, and reading not through the not so subtle lines, they're the 3 policies that effectively a council is put in jail if they don't comply. And so therefore it is quite prudent that councillors review, and this is a standing observation from me about all 3 of these agenda items. It's prudent that we check that we're complying with the regulations and the Act, but also drawing it to your attention, it's just like revision. These are the principles we operate under. I will ask the officers to point out amendments in them as we go through, if they are amended or if there's a material change to them. It is your prerogative whether we receive and adopt, or in the case of a policy that you think may need additional work, policy formulation, understanding, consultation and feedback, I'm happy that we receive the policy and leave it lay on the table for update or adoption at a future meeting. So that's just my preamble, so I don't have to say it before each of the next 3 agenda items. We are now at the entertainment and hospitality policy. Brett, it's your report. Is there significant material changes to the policy that's currently adopted?
The policy was last reviewed in January 2014. So not only does the Department of Local Government require us to review policies, but also the Audit Office. One of the items in our annual audit report is that we haven't reviewed a number of policies, so we have been doing that consistently over a number of months. So it just fits in with this program. As you can see, there's a section of the local government regulation that dictates what goes in the policy. In this policy, basically, the changes would just be clarifying any wording that are just minor changes. There's no substantive changes to the policy. The biggest one here is alcohol. That,
Section 4.2.
That is always an issue. How do you account for drinks, drink of alcoholic functions, or and that is, so that's section 4.2. The council doesn't pay for alcoholic drinks except in those 4 circumstances. So if you attend a function where there is alcohol provided, where there's an allowance to purchase that alcohol, or where it's, the main one is specifically approved by the Mayor or CEO.
Through you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor,
3.2, Brett. A, meals provided for employees who are required to work during a meal time. What's that mean?
Like today.
give council staff a meal today. Whereas normally they bring their own.
Okay. All right.
Is that right, Brett?
I just wasn't too sure what it actually meant.
Yeah, so this policy is not about that. So that's separate, that's handled separately. So this policy does not apply to that situation.
And B,
So that's if we're travelling for work, visiting another town. So for an employee, that's handled through either through the EBA or through another mechanism, not through this policy.
Because this policy is about entertainment and hospitality, whereas those cases are in the general course of work.
right.
Covered by other areas.
Yes.
The 4.1C, expenditure must be provided for in the budget and must be authorised in accordance with council's normal procurement procedures. Do you think you'll have difficulty with that sometimes if you're running a function where you might just pick out a caterer? What I was going to say, we've got the local government conference here and you're going to have, use the procurement policy, do you put it out there on vendor panel to find out? I'm just saying you might have difficulties there where you might just go and say to such and such, will you be able to cater for this function for us? And if you wanted to reword that somehow. Or do we actually do that now? That's another question I've got.
Yeah. Certainly is.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's all just done through the procurement policy.
All right. And 4.4, just up in 4.2, we've got where alcoholic can be approved by the mayor or CEO, but then down at 4.4, alcohol may be provided a function. It has been approved prior to the function by the chief executive officer. Do we want to put or mayor there? Because we've got both doing it up the top and then just as the CEO in 4.4. I think if the mayor's going to be entertaining someone, I think he's probably entitled to buy him a drink or something, yeah.
I don't have a problem.
I'm not particularly bothered, but if you want to do it for consistency. Any other questions, councillors, on the entertainment and hospitality policy?
Through you, Mr Mayor, just on the review of the policies in general, just for consistency, there are, again, I hate to use the word formatting, differences. As in, I think some of the more recent reviewing policies, HRA 12 and 13, have a review date on them that sits within the 3-year requirement. And out of the 3 policies we've just reviewed, we've got a footer with the policy name in it, whereas the other 2 we haven't. It doesn't affect the bones of the policy, it's just a consistent format.
Feedback noted.
I can be quite particular.
I haven't noticed, councillor Arthur.
Mr Mayor, yeah, so review date, a number of councils do put review dates on their policies, but yeah, I think we probably need a schedule of review dates rather than actually included in the policy, actually have a
Real reference.
yeah, schedule of all the policies, and these are the dates that we're going to review them. Because then if you miss that date, then what happens, then is that policy out of date because it said it had to be reviewed by a certain date and you didn't do it?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm not one way or the other whether it has a date on it, it's just the consistency of the reading and the format of the policy.
I much like the great English. I like the idea of having a table with every policy in it, a column of the last review, and a date set for the next review. And if that means that it's drawn from within the document, where I'm comfortable, or if it means it's maintained as a separate document, then I'm also happy with that. I will leave the formatting to officers and those councillors who are much better at protecting those things than me. But I appreciate your interest and feedback. Councillor Plum.
With this 4.2, we have spoken about whether we wear our council uniform. Should that be in there somewhere?
I believe that's in the uniform policy, is it not? The issue about drinking in uniform. Someone's nodding. Officers are advising that is the case, so Councillor Plum will address that in a separate policy. Otherwise, we end up with crossover, and we've got to be careful that we don't contradict one policy with the other. So if we leave references to uniform and badging to the policy that expressly addresses that.
That's all right, I just
Thank you. Well picked up. If everybody's comfortable, can I have somebody move, are we happy to adopt this amended document? Thank you, Councillor Plum. Seconded. Councillor Hanson. Those in favour? Going 7-0. 3.3.1. Expenses reimbursement policy.
This directly relates to council laws. Let's start. This is about what expenses you can claim as council laws. So most of it is fairly generic. The things we point out, council vehicles, it does in recognition of large amount of travel required. The mayor and deputy mayor will provide with the council vehicles, so they're probably substantial expenses that the council has to agree to and has done in the past. That hasn't changed. So any private usage of your own vehicle, you can claim that on a mileage rate as per the tax office rates, approved rates. We don't pay meal allowances, we just reimburse the amount. So if you'd have to travel for council business, pay for a meal, keep your receipts, claim it. With the telecommunications, there's so we have $50 a month for your phones. Except for the mayor, we pay the whole cost of the mayor's phone.
Probably. Maybe.
That's a continuation of the existing policy.
Just policy, it's
So,
it won't need change.
I don't, it is as continuation of what has previously been approved by council.
Councillor Plum.
Move.
Move. Second, Peebles. Discussion. There being none, I'll put it to the vote. All in favour? Carried, 7-0. Councillors, on preamble, let's more into this one than the other two. 3, 11. Councillor Peebles.
Sorry, Mr Mayor.
Councillor, acceptable request guideline. We spent a protracted period of time discussing this last week at our onboarding. I'd suggest we'll need to do further again. My recommendation would be is just, I particularly have some issues that I'd like to see clarified to distinguish the difference between information and advice. I'm not versed well enough in this particular section of the Act to understand the difference, and I have researched it and I still can't find it, so I would like to take advice from officers, but also from local government department, who will be conducting training, focusing very, very, very heavily on this exact section next week. Is that correct? Tuesday next week. So with your latitude, I would like to move on to receive this, table it, and represent an amended policy at a future meeting. Councillor Peebles.
I'll move that, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Hanson. Discussion on that proposal. Just let's let Hayley get this right. Councillors Happy, Peebles and Rogers. Was it Rogers? Right. Hands, not even close.
You come on this one.
Slowly moving from left to right. I'll have to hit something or I'll run out of councillors. You both happy with that resolution? Those in favour? Carried 7-0. Thank you, councillors, for your attitude with that. 3-12. You right over. COVID-19 plans facilities transition. This was foreshadowed earlier by Councillor Arthur. It was an extremely difficult decision in March to undertake this, the action that the resolution is listed below the line in our report. It was probably, my personal opinion, the most challenging decision to make, but in hindsight, can't believe how difficult we faced it. It was simply that our council was light steps in front of so many other local governments in Australia that we thought we were being potentially preemptive and staring, and as it turned out, we were moving faster than state and federal governments were. I think Stephen covered this in his CEO's report. We've certainly not drugged the chain, and if we haven't led the way, we've been hand on shoulder with whoever was in front of us the whole way through it. I think it is all, whilst I've seen comments that the early reopening could be, if it was premature, it'll lead to a worse result. I concur with that. It's like jumping out of a plane with a parachute. It slows your rate of descent, but before you hit the ground, let the parachute go. It could all be for nothing if we don't do it right. But I think we need to be agile, and as a decision-making body, it can be difficult to be agile enough. We have to give notice to get a meeting together, and then we reconvene, and 4 to 5 to 6 days, maybe even a week could pass between when the state and federal governments amend the Emergency Health Directive that says that you can access some facilities such as is listed below: libraries, gyms, tennis courts, showgrounds, bowls clubs, etc. And I think the shutdown that we're experiencing in Australia at the moment is placing significant psychological pressure on families, on individuals, on all manner of people. There is significant pressure being felt by small business, especially our pubs and clubs. This does not address that, and I don't think we're at the point yet in what's being signalled to us that we are able to talk about that, and in fact we don't have to make those decisions, they're made by others. But this allows us to at least have some control over our facilities, where in almost real time, if the decision came through to allow the use of gyms, for example, the CEO through his CAP team, of which I sit on in an observatory type capacity, but very involved, enjoying experience, we can move to adopt what you're authorising here today. So I don't want to give false hope to people in the community that this could, if this resolution is adopted as is presented, going to happen tomorrow and not even maybe next week. But when it does happen, it'll happen as fast out here as it does anywhere. And I think that's what's key. This is to provide the CEO and the council apparatus the ability to be agile and react quickly, and that could deliver some sort of relief to people. So that's the preamble from me. Stephen, have you got anything you'd like to add, or any of the DMs after you about the facilities and basis for this?
Mr Mayor, no, only that the DMs were involved in coming up with the list of facilities that they thought were the appropriate first steps for, the facilities that would help the community get back out and be able to exercise or interact to help with mental health and wellbeing and so on. So, it's been a discussion that's been ongoing and involved district managers and the CAT team.
I'll just quickly go, thank you. I know, Nathan, you said they've been involved. Jenny, have you got anything further to add to the report from a Barcaldine point of view on facilities?
No, Mr Mayor, I agree with what you're saying. I think it's for the mental state of mind of people that we need to be ready to go as soon as its openings are announced. Unfortunately, the ones most mentally affected are probably the ones we don't have control of, like clubs, but we can start by the little things that we can.
Thanks, Jenny. Paula?
No, we're just ready to go when we get going.
Amy?
I think with some of these facilities that we're looking at, I think we need to be looking at as well. You don't want to be, you're trying to get it up there open, but you don't want to sort of be waiting until you get the actual, approval from the CAT team and the health side of it as well. And I fully understand we've got to get social events again back in our communities at some stage, but we're not even aware of the gatherings as such as well. So it's just a wait and see at the moment.
Thank you, officers. Councillors, before we go to resolution, any questions for any of the officers that have been part of this? Any comments at all?
Through you, Mr Mayor, have we engaged with the stakeholders, as in with respect to the gym, like the Barcaldine Fitness Centre, as to their interest or urgency or of opening or reopening?
Through you, Mr Mayor, no. This was just a discussion that we had at our level at this stage, because it was really as part of the action team saying what would we put forward as the first ones to be ready to go with once, because we have to wait for the state government, for the government to approve it. So, it would come once that announcement was made.
We were also very cognizant of not being amplify or have mixed signals in the community. We see enough mixed messaging above us. And if we could just quietly ascertain it today, obviously it's become public what that list is, but it will allow us those facilities that we directly control. So yes, in the Barcaldine case, the gym is on council-owned and controlled land, and Aramak's a different but similar arrangement. At least the facility access, and then obviously there will be, because I would imagine that the advice from the government will detail how many people in gyms, and I think there's recommendations around that, maybe not in here.
It's just got people at a time, isn't
People apply, and I think that'll be driven by social distancing requirements, size, space. There may be requirements around cleaning down the equipment post-use. There's operationally, so it would be better to wait for that discussion until we're clear around what, if any, restrictions are going to be put in. So if there's no further questions, can I have a councillor move that, please? Councillors People and Plum, second, please. All in favour? Carried. Time being 12 p.m. I now adjourn the meeting for lunch to be reconvened at 12:35. Sorry? Oh, the lunch is up here. I'll open the meeting again. I'm on holidays.
Charmaine does normal time, she just, which I think is 12:30.
We'll pick up. Let's.
Oh, she just said.
Sorry.
Charmaine's just here.
All right. 3.4.1 financial report. Can I have somebody please move that we receive the financial report for the period ending 23 April? Plum, seconded, councillor Gleeson. Councillor, questions for officers? One of the financial officers just walked out of the room, but Brett's here. We had a pretty good go through the figures yesterday with our pre-budget workshops, so I understand there's not going to be significant questions. There being none, I move to item 3.5.1. Engineers report. Can I have somebody move that we receive before anyone walks out of the room? Can I have somebody move that we receive the report? Councillor Plum, seconded. Councillor Hanson. Now, no one has an MPI, to the best of my knowledge, in goal 2.
Goal 1.
Goal,
I have one in goal 2. Mayor,
right?
and goal 3.
Goal 1, isn't it?
it? Is there a goal one, Mr Mayor?
That's what I was thinking. There's no goal 1. All right, we're going to deal with goal 2 first. Then, sorry, is that right? Only goal 2, is that the only one you've got? 2 or 3.
So I'm leaving for 3, Mr Mayor,
Just wait
4 and
now.
5. So
Right.
Tuesday, I think.
Is there enough?
There's chairs for it. I've been sick of standing.
3. 4. We can bring
I'll go check on the one.
one back. On this one. Someone needs to put one of those doors that are at the bottom of their fancy motels there.
Well, Mr Mayor, maybe we could get those buzzers, you know, when you go away to the restaurant and the meal's ready. Right, we come back.
All right. Let's go. Goal 2. Rick, before we ask you any questions, do you have anything to report on goal 2?
Not apart from what's there, Mr Mayor, the Freedom of Choice Park fit outs, they're generally done. We're getting the entrance statement done at the Jericho one, so it's underway as well. So we're just organising that to go to tender. The Aramac one, the sign's been shifted, so those works will start shortly. Wi-Fi. That's been held up with the guy that's installing it.
Right.
Who's locked down, I believe, in New Zealand
That's
due to COVID.
yeah, right. Hope he's well. Councillors, questions on sculpture trail safety upgrades or freedom of choice parks or any other tourism related goal? Peoples, then Gleeson.
Rick, the entrance and plans into the Aramac Freedom Park. Can I have a look at them, please? All right? Yep.
Can we just circulate them to all councillors, what they're please?
Thank you.
Councillor Gleeson.
Through the Mayor, the sculpture trail
safety upgrades, what are the upgrades? What are they entail?
I'll do two things. We'll give a verbal answer to you, and then there was a report presented to council about 13 or 14 months ago that was undertaken at our request to ascertain the safety of the structures. So I'll get that recirculated to council to provide detail, but Rick, certainly, is there anything you want to add to what they might be?
There's just because some of the structures are over a certain height, they need some sort of structural, they had a structural check. Out of that came a couple of modifications we have to make to make sure they're safe. Because we're going to have tourists going in and hanging off them, whatever happens. Just a couple of them have identified in the report to have some things done.
We're focusing on safety.
Yeah, public safety as much as
Public
anything.
liability.
And is there a source of funding for that?
No, council's paying for
Wasn't TIDS? Did we not? No. Right, and it's been delayed.
the stopping base was funded.
Yes, that's right.
The actual structures, council cost.
Is it significant? Total to comply with the whole budget. So is that now being delayed until the next budget? Would I be able to see perhaps there's a Rick, if he, given that that's now going to be held over till next year, discussions around that we delete that from the future of the last 2 months of this report, can we? Just in order of keeping some councillors in the room. If the project's been delayed until next year, so it's not relevant. Right, goal 3, Councillor Arthur. Questions? Any leading commentary here, Rick? No. Questions? Goal 4, can somebody bring Councillor Rogers back, please? Any leading comments here? Oh, sorry, let's wait. Goal 4, Councillor Rogers, environmental. Only item is Buckhall and waste management. Any questions, councillors, on the waste management facility? Or any leading commentary? Sorry, Rick.
no,
It's good now that you explained to me what that rep was. If anyone hasn't been out there, it's is it ringing at the front. The principle of it all is that skip bins will be placed there, and the waste is actually entering the facility under council workforce and access, which will hopefully mitigate a lot of the concerns that we have with the operation of the current facility from the Department of Environment and Science. And looked like a very fancy loading ring, but now that I know what it is, it's actually very good. I'm very impressed. The facility obviously is still not open. Goal 5, each councillor had an MPI here. And did Councillor Arthur have an MPI on 5?
I
Yes, he
have 3.5.
Communities, we still got Coral? Yes. Any leading commentary here, Vic?
the only one, Mr Mayor, is the Aramac Showgrounds Amenities Building, which I've got a proposal late last week off a company to possibly bring that under budget, which I'll do some more work on and bring it back to the next council meeting.
Very good.
They'll have to go to re-tender, but it'll just be a different style of building, possibly.
Can we, do you think that that'll be presented in time that we might be able to workshop it? Check the community, even if it's just presented to the next meeting, of course, we can do the community, if council's broadly supported, then we can do community user group feedback after that. Hopefully COVID restrictions have eased and we can put a few of them in the one room together to have a look at it. That's good. Further questions on goal 5, communities? There being none, Arthur's and Peoples may return. 361. No, I wonder if we put dot points, so make them 5.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. And then say someone might have chance involved in this, but nothing to do with these three. Easy.
And, just lines up with the goals and. So there's. Yeah. Yeah, and you just take it on something else.
That formatting within it here, maybe. Okay, 6.1. Can I somebody please move that we receive Damien's report for Alpha and Jericho District? Peoples, second, Councillor. Please. Damien, would you like to lead off with anything in your report of note?
No, Mr Mayor, just the skate park at the moment, we've still got that closed, just with the safety matters at the moment, also and with the COVID that's going on. But it's all ready to go when we are actually back up and running again. So that'll be a date at some stage for the official opening of that side of it as well.
Is our funding source for that works for Queensland or DCP? So we might just need to make the appropriate reach outs to both levels of government there if anyone's interested in coming and organise something for that. But obviously it's a very much appropriate time.
I've also been approached, Mr Mayor, by the Blue Light Association through the Senior Council, Council on the Hour, Luke Young, Jericho Police.
Yes.
With his Blue Light organisation to be keen to even help out with the our official opening day as well, so.
Excellent news. Oh, the post office, it's written there, it is actually detailed there, 6th of May. Anything further to report on that, Damien?
The date now will be actually Mr Mayor, the 20th of May. So the Tuesday, that'll be her final day there on the Tuesday. I believe that'll be on the Wednesday that she'll be able to return to Jericho.
Right.
So the new owner should be there, I believe, next Tuesday to start his training, some in-house training with Don Washington there.
Right. And the final handover will be not the 25th, it'll be the 20th.
20th, yes.
Mr Mayor, is the new owner a local or actually kids
From
at
what?
school? Are the children who go to school or?
I believe single, yeah, and that he's,
New to the area, that's promising.
Good looking?
but no.
Councillor, I will rule that question out of order. Councillor Plum. Totally unlawful. Do not need you, and I do not want you to answer that question today. Are there questions other than those relating to the physical appearance of anyone in Alpha or Damien? Being none, move to item 7.1. Can I have somebody please move that we receive District Manager Aramac Muttawarra information report? Move to Councillor Peoples, second Councillor Arthur. In favour? Carried, 7-0. Paula, would you like to lead off with anything in here?
Just an update on the Freedom Park barbecue shelter, so they've fully been erected now, so that's completed.
Oh, okay, so it's to be in here, but it is finished now.
Yeah.
Questions, councillors, for Paula?
Through you, Mr Mayor, would now be a good time to bring up the email that we received about the street sweeping for Muttawarra. As I was outside for the
Yes.
report.
And it was not brought up. Yep. For the benefit of officers, I think councillors all received a email from a resident of Muttaburra regarding the possibility of street sweeping. Councillor Arthur, would you like to just raise the issue?
Well, my understanding is, a concern was raised, or a question was raised if seeing that Barcaldine town has access, or the street sweeper, the mechanical street sweeper is located here, if it was possible to, at times, use that plant also in the likes of Aramac, Muttaburra, Jerry Kanoff. I think the person may have spoken to you, Paula, and similar requests have been placed in the past, but it hasn't been. From my understanding, technical reasons, it hasn't happened. Is there capacity to look at other means?
So,
In particular, now that we've done some street upgrades in Muttaburra, is it worthwhile taking the street sweeper over there, or is it still at this stage a mechanical, like a labour-intensive process?
So I flagged this with council that we may just raise it and then ask maybe for some feedback now, but a future meeting to provide more detail around options. But Rick, I'll give you the latitude if you'd like to address it now, but certainly will not need to present a final answer now.
Happy to address it now. That street sweeper that we've got is undersized, to do 5 towns. Certainly the intent of it was, and it does travel in other towns as well. Went to Jericho some months back where it broke. The issue being that if you've got too much of a load, it's undersized, it'll break. So there's still physical work you have to undertake to clean most of the stuff away so you can use it properly. We are putting forward in the budget possibility of having a larger street sweeper to be able to better do 5 towns. Possibly still keep that one to do some of the minor work, but yeah, we may sell it as well. We haven't gone through that part of the budget process yet. Fair to say it's well undersized for the work we need to do.
Councillors, we've had an indication from the engineer that this potential option is going to be presented. Are you happy if I write back to the resident from Muttaburra and indicate, thanking him for his letter, the issue's been raised and we are investigating options and we'll report them in due course? Or Stephen, it's one of us, I think the letter, who received the letter, me or you? I think
It was to you guys, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll write back to the resident and indicate this, which is no final answer, but at least that we've raised it. There's investigation going on into alternatives and we'll report what they are in due course. Are we happy with that?
Yeah.
That's right. We're going to Muttaburra. It's not on that book. Yes, it is. 13.
In the meantime, Mr Mayor, like we get our staff to check the streets. If there's any high debris loads, they can do it manually.
Through you, Mr Mayor, too, I have been liaising with Lawrence this morning about that, and he said we can use our skid steer with the broom on the front instead of the streets.
Well, with your indulgence, councillors, I will draft a letter. I will run it past via Steve and past both Paula and Rick as to the context of our discussions. I won't foreshadow what those options are, but we've got options. We'll look into it. I think we just need to establish a method or a mechanism where we are responding, even if we haven't got a final answer. What the final outcome is, if we initially respond, then they don't think that it's fallen on deaf ears. Councillor has raised it, which was very good. Officers have already investigated it. We can at least appraise them of what we're doing. Thank you, Councillor Arthur. Any further questions for District Manager Aramac Muttaburra? Councillor, please.
Possibly directed to you, Mayor, the letter regarding the young fencing, is that anything to do?
I read
that up now or something?
I'm happy to discuss anything anytime, Councillor Gleeson, but it was a budget request and I was going to put it through the formal budget process as a proposed capital expenditure. Yes, I did circulate to council as a request from a resident in Muttaburra for us to reconsider roof fencing the town. We will be, and I would encourage you to do some on-ground liaison as part of developing support for the budget as to whether that is project that's as critical for the needs of the community as it is represented in that residence correspondence. So I don't think it's a question for our officers at this point. I think that's a question for councillors, and then we bring that back through our budget process. Unless, of course, officers would like to add conversation to that.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I did speak to Mr. Spence regarding that on a number of occasions, and yeah, we sort of suggested that maybe we could look at community funding if that became available again. I know they did that down at Ranjunda, and they fenced the towns down in those little places down in the south. So we did get some costing, although Brian also helped me with the costing because he was involved down there at the time. So yeah, we've got some costings on that, and Tyrell Spence was also asked to come back with to consult the community and come back to council with a plan, which he hasn't done yet, obviously.
No. So councillors, always, as you know, we can take letters, but I would encourage you to do your own on-ground feeling the waters, so to speak, and communicate back with the correspondent directly. Thank you, Councillor Gleeson. Further questions? There being none, we'll move to item 3.8.1, 3.7.2, sorry. Ballinee Radio Club request. The recommendation is that council sponsors the value of $1,500 for the open call rider for radio on the condition the event proceeds, and will nominate somebody to hand over the buckle. Move to Councillor Plum, second of Councillor Peoples. Those in favour? Opposed? Carried. 7-0. Now, 3.8.1. Can somebody please move to receive mechanical report? Move to Councillor Arthur, second to Councillor Rogers. Jenny, would you like to lead off with your report, or anything of note that you would like to draw our attention to?
Well, I will just advise that the pool lessee has finished at the pool now, everything's been handed back. And I will add that, which was very nice of her yesterday, I was delivered a bunch of flowers as a thank you from the pool lessee for the last 3 years, which I thought was a nice, kind gesture. So I'll report that as a gift. Apart from that, no. Bullock Dray Shed, still waiting to hear back from Queensland Rail regarding the site. And pretty much everything else is as being normal.
Questions, please? There being none, move to item 3.8.2. Before we move to resolution, Jenny, would you like to lead background, any further background to this recommendation?
There was an email sent in and then a request by phone to me regarding the use of the old information centre building to start up a new business. Out of that, I believe there has been other people approach, maybe councillors on different occasions about the use of that building. I have only had two people, well, it was one business, approach me. They have looked at the building. I have advised them that it is a matter to go to council and it'd have to be called for expressions of interest. So I put it forward that the building has sat empty for quite some time. It houses an ATM machine and public toilets. The building itself is really just a storage facility at the moment. So, and it would be nice to see some of the empty buildings in our main street be filled again. You know, we've got a big building across the road. It's an ideal location. Yeah. People are aware that it'd have to go to expressions of interest if there's more than one person involved. So, yeah.
Councillor Plum?
I'd like to move that it goes to expressions of interest.
Move to Councillor Plum. Second to Councillor Hanson. Discussion? There being none, I'll put it to the vote. Those in favour? Carried. 7-0. 3.8.3. Yes. 3.8.3, councillor, have declared a material personal interest in this. Councillors, we undertook a field excursion yesterday to fully appreciate the issues that were being raised. Jenny, have you anything further to add to that councillors were briefed on site about yesterday?
No, I think I gave all the information that has been brought to my attention with that meeting I had over there.
The only further thing I can advise you, councillors, is that the current access crossing points, and this may surprise you, it certainly did me, they are changed daily. So horses actually are crossing the track there at a different location each day. So that does only add more weight to the need to address this. My suggestions, and I'm happy to move this, or at least advise on my recommendation here to amend the resolution after the word mark, 600 metre mark, insert the words in the event of rain. Agrees to close the access on this side in the event of rain and advises all trainers that they, after they insert in that event, after that it was, that, yeah, so one further word back into that second line. Yeah, that. In that event. And then an additional sentence to be added to the bottom of the resolution. An operational plan be developed as a matter of urgency to address additional access issues. We've flagged some possibilities yesterday. I don't think the resolution needs to encompass them because we need to take advice from our track curator, from experts like Warren, and talk to trainers, everybody together, work it out. There might be an alternative again to that works rather than infrastructure shifting. So as an urgency, sorry, not emergency. As a matter of urgency, yeah. To address additional accessibility issues. That reflect what we think is appropriate.
Mr Mayor, so that's just rain, any level of amount of rain?
Well, I thought about that, and I thought then you go wet weather, what defines it? This is an open meeting. I would trust we live in Western Queensland and that there will be a practical degree of application to that. And I would also further suggest that that is something that may be defined in that operational plan. And that it would be my thoughts that stakeholders would want to protect an asset that is integral to their ongoing operations and that there be a spirit of goodwill amongst all of the users of the track. I appreciate that that may be at times difficult to achieve, but if we attempt to prescribe in this room what level of rain with our level of expertise, I'd sooner that be developed operationally. We define that when it's raining, they don't go there, they go somewhere else, and the plan can determine how much rain it is that requires that to be closed. I mean, it also depends. The other thing about rainfall in my experience, 10 mils of rainfall for 5 minutes has an effect. 10 mil falling over 5 hours has a substantially different impact. So if you use an arbitrary measure of the amount of rain, it may not be sufficient as well. But there are people like Warren Williams who would have access to the better terminology on how to encompass that.
So Sean, what happens if there's a malfunction in a sprinkler and is that just, does that come in the operational plan?
Once again, it's probably my thoughts that if that becomes then a maintenance issue, there'd be operational issues around that let's not walk through a bog hole, but I don't really know that I want to drill this resolution down to that level.
Yes.
There are 3 track accesses at the 600 metre, so it'd have to be 3 sprinkler issues. You know, if one was shut, use the other one. But I mean, once again, it is fast becoming operational once we get to that level. Officers, any feedback on that resolution?
Could I just ask Mr Mayor?
Order, please, councillors. Staff.
Did you say that they move, so each day they go through one of the different entries, they don't use the same one
They
for
alternate.
days?
I believe,
I wasn't aware.
anecdotally, I believe that to be the case.
Yep.
Councillors happy with that? Do I have a mover and a second? Sorry, hold up this. Grammar. Down on the second last line, as a matter of urgency, please, Hale. You've got them all on their toes here, councillor Arthur. Resolution that is as put. Does somebody wish to move that? Moved councillor Hanson, seconded councillor Gleeson. Those in favour? Carried 6-0. Ladies and gentlemen, the time being 12:30, I close the meeting.